I'm about to forge a rune pendant, and I have my iron bar heating up. I'm starting with a bar that measures 15 millimeters wide and 5 millimeters thick. And I am going to forge it into shape and then engrave a rune on it, a bindrune to be more precise. And again, I have forgot what the word is, or the technique. It's not called engraving, but I don't know what it's called in English. I'm gonna use chisels, and it's not punching, but you will see. But first, I'm gonna do like this. So this is what will become the top of the pendant. Then I'm gonna engrave the rune, and this is the bottom where I will cut it off. I will also have a separate piece that I will forge the loop out of. I will use some 3 millimeter wire, but now I will need my guillotine tool. And the dies I'm using are they are rounded. So I'm gonna something like that. Don't want to go too thin, but still. Like this, and I spread this out the top of it, and the idea with the groove here is that it will hold the loop in place. So what is next? I won't cut it off from the bar completely, but I will still make the length. So I will do another run with the guillotine. That's only my cutoff already, but here it is. And I having my my book here where I make all the notes, and I can read that I want this to make 60. It's good. Like so, and this is where I will cut it off later on, and the reason why I go with the fuller or this tools is because I want the end to be a bit rounded here, so instead of just cutting it straight and forging it later on, I can get those two in the same done at the same time. I want the pendant to be a little bit wider at the bottom, so I get a more, just not triangular shape, but a little bit wider. And I'm going for the hammered look, so I'm gonna let the pin marks be on the pendant. It's really good to have a notebook when you're forging and just write down what you are experiencing, even if you are not gonna like reproduce the item. It's still good for coming projects. You will probably find some moments that are similar to what you have done. It will make it much easier if you can read your notes. So definitely worth it. All right, we have the base, the overall shape ready. So now I'm gonna do some lines so I know where to have my rune. I'm gonna grab a pen. Like this, and also the rune we are gonna make is, I will take it to the anvil. This is a custom pendant. So what I did is I had a quote, and I translated that quote to one Old Norse word, and then wrote it in runes. And in this case, we are about to write Sigra, which could be like to overcome something. So I'm gonna see here. The loop will have a scroll, so I don't want the rune to be there. I will also put a brass rivet as decoration. Can actually punch that one first, because no matter, that one is deciding how long the rune can be. So I'm making, I want it in the center, of course. I can adjust that while it's hot. I got it a little bit off. See, so we are gonna draw out the middle here. We have right there, so I'm making a line. And then we are starting with how many we have 5. So the G shall be in the middle. I will make that line first. The middle line, because I'm gonna make the kind of bindrune. If you go online and you seek for bindrunes, you will find many different bindrunes. But fortunately most of them are not what they claim to be. Vikings did use bindrunes, but well, there are some evidence that should suggest that they were more than just a alphabet, and so they probably were, but they were the main main job they had was to be a alphabet. So the reason with, or the thing with bindrunes is simply to save space when writing runes, and it can also be a decorative way of writing. The rune I'm making here is more a decorative, which you can find on rune stones, for instance. There are a couple of examples where it is a boat engraved or carved into the stone, and then we have the bindrune itself is a part of the boat and makes the mast of the ship. So not only is it telling a message, but also a decorative part of the whole stone. And the way bindrunes often are presented online are simply not the way that they were used originally. So if we look at our alphabet that we use today, we also have kind of a bind letter. The double U is a bind letter, we could call it. So that was the same way runes were, or bind runes were written as well, to simply save some space and make the carving a bit easier. There we have R, and we have like that. And one more line. I'm gonna go with just the same. I'm just gonna go over it one more time to make it more. And doing it like this instead of engraving, it is quicker. But since I'm not really removing any material, I'm just pushing it, then making small details. While punching one line, it will distort the other line, so I have to be a bit back and forth. But now we have our rune here. We have S, I, G, R, and A. We're also gonna have a brass rivet at the bottom. Right there. So now I'm gonna punch the holes for the rivets. I'm having 3mm rivets, so making a relatively small hole. And as I was a bit off when making the first mark, so I will have to adjust it a little bit by punching, but it looks good. So we have the first. I might, well, I can actually try with a rivet, see if I need the hole to be a bit larger. A little bit. You can solve it by that should be enough. And the second one. That looks also a bit too much to the left, so I'm gonna adjust that. Like this, and I guess I will have to make it a little bit larger. And the rune still looks fine after all the hammering. I noticed that this top part is a bit too long, so I will cut it off. But besides that, the shape of the pendant is good, and I will continue with the loop. When it comes to bind runes, it seems that it was more common for the elder Futhark. Here I'm using the younger Futhark. As the name suggests, the elder Futhark was the first. Then it evolved. It was 24 runes in the elder. Then it evolved and made it the writing a bit more simpler. So in the younger Futhark, it's only 16. But it seems that bind runes were more common with elder Futhark, and it might be for practical reasons, because if written a bind rune like we read, not as in this pendant, I write it from top down, but if it's written from left to right, then we can use, if I draw here, runes are built out of staves, so we take the D rune, it looks like this, and as you can see we have staves at this both sides. If we compare it with the A I just made, we have like this and then like so. And then it will be difficult to create a bind rune on this side, but instead of making two separate, we can combine it, so we write simply like that. And then we have the bind rune like so. So that might be one reason why it's more common. It could be something else, but a theory. Like this. I'm gonna do some filing. These corners on top are too sharp, and also this bottom part isn't really as I want it, so But it's good for now, and I will let it cool off and continue with the loop. And for that I will need, I'll double check, but I believe it's 3mm round and 100mm long. Whoops. Then we measure again. 100mm right there. Looks good. Or does it? Yes, it do. It do. Perfect. Then we have, I will use that as a loop, but I think I will put the rivets on the pendant. And then I have to do the rest of the work at the vise. So we might stop here with this pendant, then I will show you another one that I made. I just made another one with a different rune, so but they both will look the same, so I can show you that one. Here I just have a brass rivet. Then I'm putting like that, smooth and feeling good. And then a second one. Double checking the rune still looks good. So I can call this pendant finished. I will just have that that's the loop and do some final shaping. Like so. So what I will do here is simply put the loop like this, and then I'm gonna twist it around so the material is inside the groove, and then I bend it to a loop. And then it will look like this. So and on this pendant here we have S, I or E, the, and R. So that makes the word satyr, which is a form of... Satyr is a something that was practiced by Völvas, and a Völva is kind of a shaman, what we would call shaman today. And satyr was a divination method, a way to predict the future. So yeah, hope this pendant will serve its owner well and bring some magic.